If you're finishing hiking days off sore, stiff, and exhausted, there's a simple fix. After 20,000 miles on the trail, I've optimized my nutrition for maximum endurance. Most hikers are eating low-protein, high-carb, poisonous pre-made meals with tons of ingredients you can't pronounce. Today I'm going to show you how to fuel with real, non-processed food that weighs less and performs better.
The first topic we're going to cover is the actual food I eat every day on the trail. I'm covering between 10 and 25 miles daily, usually between 3,000 and 10,000 feet of elevation gain, depending on the trip. And I'm 175 pounds approximately and 6'2". So you have to dial these calories and intakes up or down and test them out on your own. But this is what I use. And then the second part of the video, after the food, we're going to cover endurance metabolism. This is actually much more important for you to understand of why I select the foods that I do. I'm just going to go through it in the order that I eat it during the day. So I have first freeze-dried chicken. It's just 100% chicken. I switch this up with the Mountain House chicken and beef. You can just get the big containers of them. It's nothing else but chicken or beef. I have chicken for today's meal. I'll have beef tomorrow and just switch them back and forth so I don't get bored. This is 2 cups of freeze-dried chicken. I'll just take approximately half of it and I'll cold soak it overnight in this Talenti cup. You could just make it on a stove if you wanted to too, but this is the thing I'm gonna eat first thing in the morning. So this is gonna give me a very high protein, fairly low carbohydrate morning with some fat in it. So I'll use that. Then I'll put honey in it. This is just a half a gram of honey, so it's like, I don't know, 12 grams of natural sugar. Fairly low carbohydrate, but just to get things going in the morning. Then I'll put bare bones bone broth. This is extra protein, but mostly just the flavor. Really good stuff. All this stuff I'm showing you guys in this, it's almost all whole ingredients. There's not a lot of processed stuff in it. And then I'll just take about an ounce of olive oil, and I'll put that in here too, and I'll mix it all up. And then I'll just eat that first thing in the morning when I leave camp. So the next thing I have, which I eat on the trail during the day, are pistachios. You could pick any nuts. I would just pick a nut that you love eating. I switch out my nuts for every single different trip. I'll eat a whole trip with one kind of nut and a whole trip with another kind of nut so I don't get tired of them. When you're doing a lot of miles, the key is to always be in love with what you're eating because you have to eat as a chore. Whenever you're out here, I'm eating between 4,000 and 5,000 calories usually per day. And that's a lot of calories. I'm used to eating about 3,000, 3,500 at home. So you have to constantly eat or you'll lose energy and you'll bonk, meaning you'll start feeling dizzy, you'll start feeling tired, you won't want to be out hiking, and that's a bad place to be. So pistachios for this trip, I have 12 ounces of pistachios. This is like 1,800 calories of pistachios a day. High fat, very low carb, but still some carbs in them. And really good salty taste. So I just get the salted ones because I need a lot of salt on the trail to keep going. So I'll just eat these intermittently throughout the day. As you train more and more, as you hike more and more, your body will tell you and your timing will tell you when you need to eat. The other thing I have is beef jerky. This is just Tillamook beef jerky. It is 0 sugar beef jerky. It still tastes great. So I'll eat 3 ounces of this per day. This is for 2 days, so I just split it up in 2. So they have these packed in these bags. I'll eat that during the day, sporadically. And then the last thing I have to eat on the trail during the day is RX bars. I usually carry 4 to 5 RX bars per day of the trip. Why I like RX bars a lot is because these are the blueberry ones. These are my favorite ones. The strawberry ones are good too. But the number one ingredient in these is actually dates. Dates are a very good source of natural sugar. And we'll talk about carbohydrates and sugar in the second part and why it's important to eat carbohydrates as a supplement, not as an actual food. So during the day, I'll split these in half. That makes it about 90 calories at a time. And every hour, I'll eat 90 calories of carbohydrates on the hour. So I just get used to doing this. I can feel it in my body. But you don't want to eat too much carbohydrates being sugar at once because it'll turn on your insulin. And once your insulin gets turned on, your cells in your body start to suck in energy and it can make you tired on the trail and it just doesn't feel good. So even with those little gels, they're really bad for you. I used to take those for ultra running. They're about 100 calories each, but they just have really bad sugar in them. They just have some really badly processed stuff in them as well. But these are 4 ingredients: dates, egg whites, almonds, cashews, blueberries. So 5 ingredients. And they're really good. They don't make you feel weird. So sticking with natural whole foods with no extra added sugar. Natural sugar is great on the trail. I eat it all the time, but added sugar can make you feel really weird. At dinner time, I'll make the exact same thing that I had for my breakfast, which is 1 cup of this chicken or beef, whatever you want to choose for the day, 1 bone broth, and then 1 honey packet. Then I carry an extra honey packet Usually during the day on the trail sometime, I'll just crush one of these. It's just an extra energy source, just pure sugar. It's like 12 grams of natural sugar. So now let's cover the supplements that I use every day on the trail. In the morning, before I hit the trail, 2 supplements that are essential to my kit. Number 1, greens powder. This just covers all your essential vitamins and minerals and electrolytes, and it also has probiotic and prebiotic in it, which just really makes you feel good on the trail. So I take that every day on the trail. 1 scoop, I put it in water. And then creatine monohydrate. I take 2 scoops of this, so 10 grams. And creatine's fantastic. I take it every day of my life. It's good for brain function, it's good for muscle function, and it's also one of the precursors of ATP, which creates energy in your body. You can look into it on your own, but creatine's absolutely essential. Then during the day, a few different supplements I take. Number 1, I take 3 grams of fish oil, so omega-3s. I take that on the trail every day. And then the only other thing I take besides caffeine pills, I usually have 1 caffeine pill of 100 milligrams in the morning when I get up, then another 100 milligram like 2 or 3 hours later, then another 100 milligram like 2 or 3 hours later, and that's it. So 300 milligrams per day. At night, I like to use L-theanine. I take 5 of these, so I think it's 1,000 micrograms, I believe. So it helps your body to calm down, it helps your nervous system just relax, and then I mix that with 1,500 milligrams of magnesium. And if you're doing a lot of endurance activities, you can take extremely high amounts of magnesium. You can look into it on your own, but I take these right before bed. It just helps my body calm down from a long day on the trail. Usually, if you're up at high elevations and you're hiking all day, sometimes when you get to camp, it'll take your heart rate a while to drop. And if you don't take supplements to help it drop, it can really decrease your rest during sleep. And I want to get my heart rate on hikes down into the mid 50s. At home, it's like in the mid to low 40s, but when you're just going after every single day on the trail at high elevation, sometimes it'll be a little higher. I just want it in the mid 50s, so those help me a lot with that. I also take vitamin D3, 10,000 milligrams, and K2. That's just in a single pill. So now let's cover endurance metabolism. This is something I learned from hiking a whole lot, but also doing a lot of running and ultra training for mountain races. And most people's understanding of metabolism is very skewed, I think, because there's a lot of propaganda out there. There's also the food pyramid and a bunch of other stuff I won't get into that basically forced bad carbohydrates on people since the 70s to hide inflation, amongst many other things.
So the first thing I would recommend to you guys is get my hiking food guide that I have linked down below the video, and you can download the free PDF that goes with it. It goes into a deep dive on endurance metabolism, and I have all the table of contents here, but let's go to a simple macronutrients overview. So your simple macronutrients are fat. It's a slow burning all day energy, great for 1 and 2 heart rate zones, like hiking. Then you have carb energy. This is fast burning, short half-life energy, great for higher heart rate zones, like 3 to 5, like running or strenuous high elevation gain hiking. And then you have protein. This is what most people skip on. Most people eat pre-made hiking meals that are very high in carbs. They might be high in fats, but they're very low in protein. Protein's an amino acid. It's used for muscle and tissue, building, recovery, and repair. So your body requires fat and protein to live. Carbs are not required, but they can be very useful when used as a supplement for different activities. And that's what this guide's going to go into. So the next part of this guide is how to calculate your protein and energy macros. So what I like to do is I like to use this app. You can use it on iPhone or any other platform as well as your desktop. It's called Chronometer, and you can use it to build out your different macros. So here's what I do. Step 1, I dial in my protein intake. Most people eat very low amounts of protein. When I'm at home, I eat about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So I'm 175 pounds. I eat 175 to about 200 grams of protein while at home. I run a lot at home. I hike short distances home, maybe 7 to 10 miles a day, and I lift at home. But when you're doing endurance activities, like really long hikes where you're hiking 10 to 25 miles a day with lots of elevation gain, like 3 to 10,000 feet of gain a day after day after day, I find that my ideal protein intake is 1.3 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So on shorter trips, less elevation gain, I'll use 1.3 grams. On longer trips with more elevation gain, which is my normal trip, I'll use 1.5 grams. So this ends up being around 250 grams of protein for me. And protein is essential because it's going to help your muscles recover. It's going to help them to repair and build back stronger for the next day of hiking. If you're low on protein, your body will actually start to eat muscle. And this muscle wasting can make you sore, it can make you tired, and can make you fatigued. The next step I'm going to do is add healthy fats from whole foods. So Whole food protein already has fat naturally included. That's why I use the freeze-dried beef and freeze-dried chicken. And then I just add olive oil to it. Olive oil is a very healthy natural fat. I don't want to use what most people do where they make these pre-made hiking meals that they buy online, and they have a bunch of ingredients you can't even pronounce. That's really bad for your metabolism. Your body has no idea what to do with that stuff. Step 3, I add carbs as a supplement. So I'm only using carbs when I need to, when I'm doing really big endurance events like really long days on the trail, really high elevation hiking, and just really higher heart rate activities later in the trip. So as the trip progresses, you will get fatigued and your heart rate will naturally start to drift or climb. And using carbs as a supplement, as I talked about earlier in the video, can be really good for this. And then if you want to go expert level, the last step is I fill any missing micronutrients with supplements. Micronutrients are a bunch of different things that your body needs to function that are not the 3 main macronutrients, but they are found in food and in all macronutrients. So you can use supplements to do this. At the bottom of this guide here, I have a whole supplement list. So this is an expert level. I would just work on the first 3 steps at first, but use that Chronometer app to do it. And then my average daily macros for hiking: protein, 225 to 260 grams, depending on the trip. Fat, 200, 250 grams. Carbs, 100, 200 grams. And I'm 175 pounds. But you'll really have to work on dialing this in for yourself, for what works for you. Also in this guide, I have this whole list here of what I eat on the trail, and then links to it all. So you can just scroll down to this. You can see all the different meals I eat, the different high carb snacks, the different high protein and high fat snacks. And then I have a whole list of my supplements that I use for every single trip. Supplements are very essential for hiking because when you have freeze-dried food or any food that is prepared for hiking, even if it's whole food, you're going to need to add some supplements that can really help you out. And then I also have the sleep and recovery supplements here. And then I have a cheat sheet that goes through the science of metabolism and everything I've learned, including some books such as Training for the Uphill Athlete and this PE diet book, which isn't a diet, but actually talks to you about how protein and energy works within the body. So check out that link. Hiking food, link down below, and it'll help you out. Let's jump back to the video.
The number one thing you want to remember is you have 2 energy sources that are the main energy sources your body uses. There's a few others that I won't get into here, but the main energy sources you need to remember are fats and carbohydrates, which turns into glucose. So you basically have fats and glucose as your main energy sources. Your body is going to want to use fats as a great energy source for long endurance, meaning if you're going all day long and your heart rate's low, your body's going to use fats. Usually this is for zone 1 and 2 heart rates. People will see like zone 1 and 2 on their watches. Unless you actually dial it in using some tests that you can do on your own, then you actually don't have the right zone 1 and 2 on your watch. But if you actually calculate these in so they're all right and timed up for your own body and your own endurance, the zones are very good to know. So generally zone 1 and 2 are fat burning metabolism zones. That's fairly low heart rates. My top of my zone 2 going into zone 3 is 150 beats per minute. So anything below 150 beats per minute-ish, I'm burning mostly fat. It doesn't mean I'm not burning some glucose, but I'm burning a majority of that as fat. Once you get into these high heart rate zones, say I was climbing up this mountain back here, I would climb slowly so my heart rate would stay in my zone 2, so below 150 beats per minute. But if I had to do it for a long period of time, day after day after day, I would slowly see that heart rate creep as I got more and more fatigued, and my body would need more and more glucose to sustain me. So that's why I like to eat glucose or carbohydrates in the form of natural sugars, because your body processes it real quickly. They hit your bloodstream very quickly, and they go through and provide you energy very quickly. Other forms of slower carbohydrates like oats or any other so-called healthy carbohydrates, they just don't get to your bloodstream as quickly. They're going to take more time, so they're not going to hit you right away. So that's why I prefer to use natural sugars. Now, when I'm out hiking during the day, day after day after day, the first days of my trip, I don't eat very many of these bars. I might just eat 1 a day, split into 2 parts when I'm starting to just feel a little bit low on energy during the day. But if I'm cranking mountains all day long on day 5 of my trip, I'm probably going to be intaking 4 of these a day, just splitting them up in half every hour or so on the trail. A really good book you can read on all this stuff is called Training for the Uphill Athlete. It goes into not only training plans for endurance, but it goes into how your body processes energy and stuff like that. I won't get into a deep dive here because it'll just be too long and a lot of you would be too bored with it. But just one thing to remember, if you're doing mostly zone 1 and 2 activities, a lot of fats are going to be really good for you because your body's using fats at those lower heart rate zones. One thing I also did is about 2 years ago, I did keto diet and then I did carnivore diet. Keto diet's less than 20 grams of net carbs a day, so total carbs minus fiber. And then carnivore diet is 0 carbs a day. And I didn't stay on this long term because I didn't feel good for endurance activities. But what it does for you, it usually feels great the first 6 months to a year for endurance athletes, but it trains your body to only burn fat energy. And it actually makes your body fat adapted. So instead of looking for carbohydrates or glucose for an energy source like most people's bodies are because they're addicted to bad or processed sugar or other bad carbohydrates, your body just looks for fat as its first energy source, and it gets used to burning fat as its primary energy source, and then you can just go all day long. So I did keto for, 6 months and carnivore for a year, and then I started to feel weird, so I started implementing fruits back into my diet as my carbohydrate source, and everything went back to normal. But I lost a lot of body fat, and I gained a lot of body muscle. So my body fat percentage went from 14% down to 7 to 9%. My optimal for feeling good is about 9% body fat, but eating high fat diets, if you're not eating carbohydrates and you're proportioning your macros correctly, will actually make you gain muscle if you're lifting and training and lose fat, which is very counterintuitive because if you're training your body to burn fat as its primary energy source or primary fuel, your fat on your body works really well for fuel. So you can actually not eat all day and your body will just burn off excess fat and you'll feel really good. And when your body burns excess fat, it creates another energy source, which is called ketones. Your brain loves ketones as an energy source. You guys can get into all the ketones and all the other alternative energy sources that your body can use if it needs to. But that's a little rant on how I got to be fat adapted. And then to stay fat adapted, you just want to do a whole lot of activity each week, meaning like 90% of my activity is zone 1 and 2 heart rate. And then 1 day a week, I do VO2 max training, which is uphill sprints. You're not doing any zone 3 training. Zone 3 for endurance athletes is called the gray zone, meaning it doesn't train your upper end, your VO2 max, which is just your body's ability to process oxygen. And it doesn't train the low end, which is zone 1 and 2, which is your body's ability to go all day long using mostly fat energy. You can experiment around with all this stuff. It makes a huge difference. And that's how I got to what I'm eating now. Now I slowly modify this and switch it up over time, but it's working really well for me at this point. But like I said, check out that book, Training for the Uphill Athlete. Another book that's really good on this stuff is called the PE Diet. It's not an actual diet. It just talks about the protein to energy ratio. So a quick overview of it is your protein is your main macro, and then you have your energy macros, which are carbohydrates and fats. So if you want to get shredded, meaning really nice body fat percentage that you're comfortable with that makes you an athlete, then the goal of this book, it basically says take the weight that you ideally want to be. So for me, it's 175 pounds. When you're at home, not on the trail, you're aiming to hit in protein every day 175 grams of protein. Then your intake for fat and carbohydrates should be 175 grams combined or less. And for me, that's mostly fats and just some carbohydrates. I'll eat a banana or an apple after a huge workout or before a huge workout at the gym or anything where I'm doing really intensive exercise like the VO2 max training or sprints or anything else. I'll eat an apple or a banana before that, or weightlifting. I'll eat an apple or banana for that and after, because that really helps you out with energy when you're doing explosive exercises. But most of my other training, I'm just eating mostly fats with carbohydrates as a supplement, not a food. So I'm using carbs only when I need to for particular activities, and the kind of carbs I'm using are just natural sugar carbs, so fruits. And that's why I selected these, because they're mostly dates. So hopefully that helps you guys out. You can dive in on all that stuff. It's a long, long rabbit hole. I'm not an expert on it by any means, but I learn over time and try to repeat back what I know to you guys. See you guys.